If you don't write it down, you will likely forget it. This is one of the things Dan Martell taught me that was amazing. So simple, yet so true. I think about the days of being in the field, and we'd call a city or municipality and say, hey, we need maps for your water lines or sewer lines or whatever it may be. They'd come out and there would be an old guy that'd been working there 40 or 50 years, and he had it all stored up here. He knew where everything was at any given moment. He could tell you on a dime where it was at, what day it was installed, what size the pipe was, but no one had it documented. And I remember just asking one day, what happens when that guy isn't here anymore? What are you guys gonna do? Oh, we're just screwed.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery, a coaching community built for those ready to become the strongest version of themselves. Weekly calls, proven playbooks, and a community built to grow. Greatness is not given, it's unlocked. Join us today at jacobemery.com or DM coach at jacobemery44 on all social media platforms. If you don't write it down, you will likely forget it. This is one of the things Dan Martell taught me that was amazing. So simple, yet so true. I think about the days of being in the field on our pipeline, and when I was out in the field and we'd call a city or municipality and say, hey, we need maps for your water lines or sewer lines or whatever it may be. They'd come out and there would be an old guy that'd been working there 40 or 50 years, and he had it all stored up here. He knew where everything was at any given moment. He could tell you on a dime where it was at, what day it was installed, what size the pipe was, but no one had it documented. And I remember just asking one day, what happens when that guy isn't here anymore? What are you guys gonna do? Oh, we're just screwed. Why don't you write it down? Why don't you document it? Why don't you have that somewhere outside of his head? George has got it. Well, George might have it then, but what happens when George isn't available anymore? You can't call George up and say, hey, George, I need this water line location. I need this size of pipe. Is this main good or not good? George's documentation in his head is not real documentation. If it's not written down, you cannot build a system out of it. What lives in our heads that's not documented is most often not mentioned correctly, not mentioned clearly, or underestimated what people actually receive when information is verbalized. Don't think that for a minute that everyone clearly understands what you're saying without seeing it. You can say it, but it doesn't mean that they're seeing it. Most of the time, business owners often think that everyone understands the message very clearly. People will shake their head, they won't ask questions, but a lot of time they don't realize that that's just the fear of asking questions, the fear of unknowns, or the fear of repercussion that may or may not be there. Either way, most of the time people don't have a clue what you're talking about. And it's not because you don't know what you're talking about, it's because you can't clearly communicate that message. Put a picture down and document it. Verbal systems are not scalable. Let me say that again. Verbal systems not documented are not something that can be scaled. You cannot scale chaos in someone's head. You cannot scale something that is not clear for everyone to understand. Most time, the thing that's overlooked, I would say number one, the person trying to articulate a message doesn't understand that it's not clear to everyone else. It's so clear to them, they can't unsee it. But people that they're trying to get to hear it and see it and feel it, they don't have a clue what you're talking about. They don't have the same experiences. They don't have the same progress that you've made, the same adversity that you've had. They don't understand what setbacks you've had, what mountains you've had to climb. How are they supposed to understand it through your lens when you can't explain it back to them to see from their own lens? We don't have the same experiences. A lot of the time, people are just hoping that someone understands it, thinking they do, and they get extremely upset when they actually don't. What's in our head becomes a liability if it doesn't get documented. I think drawing draws people in. So drawing pictures, trying to verbalize it with looking at a picture, understanding an image as you're talking through it. If I'm sitting here talking to you now and we have an image in the middle of us, my words are explaining this image from my point of view. But you don't have to draw the picture because you can see it. But if we're just talking on the phone, I'm trying to visually communicate this message to you. And then you're trying to paint it in your head and download it at the same time. But if you see that picture, you're seeing what I'm saying. at the same time. And it makes it much clearer, much easier to understand and download yourself. People cannot execute on something that is not clearly defined. If you want to systematize anything, it has to be so crystal clear, whether you're 8 years old or 80 years old, it's obvious to everyone and there's no doubt about what's real, what's done. So whenever you have a system you're trying to build or a process inside of that system that's not step-by-step clear, what's the clear outcome? What are the clear defined steps? What are the supporting steps? What exactly needs to be done for this to be executed on? Most of the time, we don't see poor performers. We see poor process that's not performed in well because it can't be. So to be consistent, to be able to scale something or repeat something day after day after day, document it. And here are the 3 keys to DOD, the definition of done. You must have it documented and trained by everyone that has a part in that process or that system. So if you're going to systematize something and there's a process inside of that, everybody that will use that or have a rule in that must be trained. Second, you must have an audit cadence. How often does it need reviewed to make sure it is still the best possible process? How do you know it doesn't need every day, every week, sometimes once a year? An annual planning process of some sort, probably once a year would be good. Steps throughout the year maybe lead to certain circumstances that it only needs to be changed, but you only do it once a year, so why would you need to change it that much more? And lastly, there needs to be a measurable assigned to it. So how do you know if it's progressing you closer or further away from your goal? So you have to manage the measurables with having a measurable in mind to make sure that you're progressing the way you should via the process. I always relay back to a court of law. If you're going to a court of law to prove that you didn't do something, are you going to rely on verbal storytelling or are you going to have documentation through and through? If you don't have the documentation, can you prove your innocence? Or are you just going to become guilty because of that documentation or lack thereof? No business, no person that has a system or wants to repeat something consistently, it should never be relied on an individual. A business that has a key person to rely on for that thing to be true. We're going to hit our goals this year. This person's going to get us there because they have the system. They are the system. It's not valuable. The machine has to be built and put the right people in the machine to run it the best way possible. A lot of time people think that it's all about just talented individuals. Well, you got to have talented individuals in every facet of life, but if you don't have people fitting inside of a system that's right first, then you have a bunch of people that are individualist, more than likely, because the system creates the ability to execute at a high level. Think of the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan was still Michael Jordan before he had Phil Jackson and the surrounding pieces. But until that system was in place, the triangle offense, they were not the Chicago Bulls dynasty that we know today. Whenever there is not documentation of what done looks like, a clear path to get there, you have an outcome and a clear process to achieve. Whenever that's not there, that's where leaks start to happen. Variation comes in. People have preferences. They do it their own way. That's where you get into trouble. So if you really want to systematize something, you must have it documented. It must be easily accessible to everyone that has a piece in that. There must be the training, the audit cadence, the measurable to make sure that you're getting the progress that you should be. Them are the things that have to be true for this to be systematized. And what is the whole point of having a system or process in place? It's dry. Don't repeat yourself. Often a term used when coders are in place in the tech world, but dry. Do not repeat yourself. It's that easy. This is all here so we can systematize what we do. Systems create repeatability. Repeatability creates scale. So if you want to repeat something, document it, train it, make sure it's the right process, and then measure the results. At the end of the day, you cannot scale chaos. Simple, simple, simple. Keep it simple, keep it short, to the point, and don't have any discrepancy. And there can be absolutely zero interpretation. If it's up to interpretation, it's not a clear expectation. So stop hoping that you're going to get something right and start executing and systematize what you have in place to get the scalability that you're looking for. Without systems, you can't scale. And never try to scale chaos. Stop telling yourself one day. It isn't about one day, it's about day one. Today should be your day one. What you need isn't another day. What you need is clarity with the community to give you confidence to unlock your greatness. That's what the group coaching program is all about. Confidence, clarity, via commitment. Hit the show link in the notes. Let's start unlocking your greatness now, today.